Yeah. It's still a crime that ended up on the other side of the album. That's another story. Hey, everybody, here on Yesshift, I'm Dan, shortest guy in the room. We got my son Steve right there. He's about 6 feet. And Adam Parrish, our guest for the first time. Adam, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3", actually.
Well, there you go. Like I said, I'm the shortest guy in the room. Well, welcome, everybody. We're here and happy to have Adam on board for the first time. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, working with Rick Wakeman, gigs that he's got, his own musicality. He's a wonderful keyboard player, piano player. And let's go for it, Steve.
Yeah, so I guess we could start from the beginning. How did you get into music, and how did that lead to you becoming aware of Yes and Rick Wakeman?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here today. It feels
Sure.
such an honor, after the guests that you've had, and Trevor Rabin, John Lodge, all these wonderful people. So I just first of all want to say thank you for having me on here.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, my journey with music started when I was 5 years old, believe it or not. So I'm 30 now. I've been playing the piano for about 25 years. And I first went to see Rick Wakeman, believe it or not, when I was 5. And it was at, I can remember the gig very, very clearly at Doncaster Dome in the north of England. And it was on his Legend 2000 tour, where it was just him and a few keyboards set up. And so he did his, usual anecdotes and the music from across his career. And it was in a very, very intimate part of the theatre. It was in one of the smaller rooms because, weirdly, I think they struggled with the ticket sales on that particular gig for some unknown reason. But anyway, it was all good because I got to see him really up close, and I remember just watching him and his fingers, and just thinking, I want to do that,
Nice.
And, of course, being a 5-year-old kid, a lot younger than the most of the audience there. I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, I guess. And I remember him actually acknowledging me because I was sat on the front row. And that was the moment, really, where I decided I wanted to be a keyboard player, as it were.
Nice. Did you take the bus? Because they didn't have Uber then, I don't think. How did you get there?
I was with my parents at the time.
Oh, your parents?
Yeah, I was with my parents. So, yeah, and I have them a lot to thank for, going to those early gigs. And, yeah, that was a real surreal gig looking back on it in reflection. But yeah, very enjoyable. And I've been to, over my childhood, I went to see Rick numerous times. And so, yeah.
Does he know that was you, Adam?
Sorry, what was that?
Going back to that gig, does he know that was you?
He does, yeah.
That's hilarious.
And we often reminisce about that. And in fact, I was talking to Lee Pomeroy last week. We'll obviously talk about that gig a bit later. But when I saw them on the current tour last week, Lee Pomeroy, his bass player, remembered me as the kid who used to turn up in Rick Wakeman t-shirts, wearing a sort of makeshift cape.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Still got, but it probably fits on about one leg now.
That's great. Lee's a tremendous bass player too.
He is, yeah, absolutely. So that's how it really all started off for me. And and then I went to see Rick on the 2003 Out There tour. So I don't know if you remember the album that he did back then called Out There.
Yeah.
And so I went to see him numerous times on that tour, and I also went a lot to the Classic Rock Society in Rotherham, where he often used to do warm-up shows for his South American dates with his band. So it was great to be sort of immersed in that music from a young age, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve was very exposed to Yes. Right when he was born, actually. So you guys have had the same sort of fandom, I guess, from the same ages, basically, through life, which is kind of interesting. I was I was turned on to my favorite music, I guess, when I was 7. So I wasn't that far behind you guys, age-wise.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah. So, there we
Yeah.
go.
And
Bill, yeah.
I remember like when I was younger, as a kid, I would sort of take pride in being like, oh, I'm probably the youngest Yes fan there is. But, I'm about to turn 31 in a couple weeks. So evidently I'm not the youngest one. Like you might be slightly younger than me. And there are like other younger Yes fans even who still have popped up in the years since, it's unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah, it's interesting because I went to the Liverpool gig last week, and I remember thinking to myself, "Gosh, I'm 30 years old, and I'm still the youngest by about 20 years."
There were no little kids there?
No.
Oh, that's interesting. I remember seeing them on the Full Circle tour, and I think one of my nephews went. So how old's Matthew, Steve?
Right now, I think, 33, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so it's like 3 years old, 2 or 3 years older than you. So yeah, that sounds about right. Wow, where's the time go? So back then, he was a little kid then, and there were other little kids, and I've seen them. So I'm kind of surprised you didn't see that, Adam, at that gig. That's kind of weird. I see young kids at shows all the time now.
Yeah, I think it depends. I have seen some younger audience members at some recent gigs, and so it's obviously filtering through, and people are discovering the music.
Yeah. Are your parents musicians as well?
No, actually, they're not. So I was, but they are. My dad in particular is a big lover of progressive rock. And that kind of music. So, as I say, I went to all of these concerts when I was younger, and I remember, and I got a keyboard when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and then that's what really prompted me to start taking up classical piano lessons. And I think because Rick came from that very classically trained background, that's what sort of gravitated me towards more that style of learning the piano.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful teacher for 10 years from when I was 8 until 18.
Wow.
Stratton. And even though he wasn't a Rick Wakeman fan per se, he very much encouraged me to listen to all kinds of music. So yeah, whilst I was having that structured training, really, Rick was always in the background, plus other keyboard players and influencers like, Keith Emerson, the late John Lord, Don Airey as well.
Oh yeah.
All of these people that have sort of picked up inspiration from over the years, and it's like a never-ending apprenticeship course, really.
Right, absolutely. As a drummer, I can attest to that. I've been playing 56 years, and the journey never ends.
Yeah.
So what? Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. So, as you got into music, were there any albums that sort of became your go-to favorites as you were learning and absorbing everything?
Yeah. So I mean, really, in terms of Rick Wakeman, the Out There album was really something that's held a special place in my heart. And when I go back to it now, it feels sort of nostalgic. It sort of takes me back to that period of time, really. But in terms of Yes, I mean, I grew up during the time where, the Magnification album was out, and I loved that orchestral sound.
Me too.
From the day one, and I think that album was really, really popular at the time when I was growing up. So I'm kind of one of the newer breed of Yes fans. And it was interesting because I heard that era of stuff like the Ladder, the Magnification, and then I sort of went back in my later years to the classic period of Yes. So yeah, I really sort of, and I wasn't aware of the personnel, changes at the time. So I just took the music for what it was, really, and I've appreciated all the eras of Yes music.
That's great. What's some of your favorite Yes music to play on piano and keyboards?
To play, well, I mean, Sound Chaser is definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
And probably haven't mastered it yet, but
God, I would love to have a keyboard player where I live to jam that with. I would lose my mind if I could play that with somebody.
yeah.
I live in a very small community in the mountains. There's only like 7,100 people here. And to my knowledge, there's no one who could. I can't even think of a keyboard player at the moment. We had a friend who passed away who played keyboards who probably could have learned it.
Yeah.
I never thought of that while he was alive. Why didn't I think of that? But to play that kind of music with somebody, and I did when I was a kid. I played that. I played Carnival 9, first, second, third impression. I played Deep Purple stuff with keyboard players, with a full band. But now there's just no one here. There's some guitar players, bass players. I'm playing a show tonight, actually, with someone. But to be able to play Sound Chaser, so we're going to have to visit each other at some point, somewhere where there's gear, and just bang that out with a couple other guys.
100%. I'm game for that.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of other songs, I have to gravitate really towards the songs that are always in my top five of Yes tracks. Heart of the Sunrise. I mean, that I love playing that solo in the middle of it.
I love that part.
I just love the intense. I love the sort of roller coaster of emotions in that song. Music.
Yeah.
It's got that really intense sort of rising line, but then it's also got that sort of very calm, Steve Howe, John Anderson section as well. So I like that. And for a similar reason, I like And You and I.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sort of more organic acoustic sections of that, but then it goes into this sort of really full bombastic orchestral like section as well. And I do a lot of solo piano concerts up and down the country in the UK, and I do tend to throw in a bit of And You and I occasionally.
Nice. That song's just truly such a masterpiece. Any version of it. My favorite version, I'd love to know your guys' take on this. And the audience too, chime in, folks. My favorite version of Heart of the Sunrise is still the bootleg that's a soundboard recording from 1978, the first in the Round Tour, the Tormato Tour, the year I saw them, from Cleveland, from the Richfield Coliseum. I just love that boot, and I love that version of Heart of the Sunrise. I used to rock Steve to sleep when he was a baby singing to that. It's just the greatest version, I think.
Yeah, well, the first time I heard that track was when I went to see Yes for the first time, and it was on the it would have been the 35th anniversary tour.
Okay, yeah.
I guess would have been about 2003, 2004 now, and it was in Nottingham, UK, and I just remember being absolutely awestruck by that track in particular, and it just sounded so full, and that Chris Squire bass tone that sort of shook the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, do you have a favorite version of that song?
Well, this might sound kind of basic, but my favorite version is the album version. It just sounds so different from all the live versions. I guess maybe part of it is like Bill Bruford being on it, but also it sounds cleaner, and I don't know, the vocals are just kind of different from the live versions. Like the way it's mixed, it's just perfection to me.
I'll have to listen to that. I haven't heard that in so long. What album is it on? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll have to pull that out. What a great way to introduce, the new keyboard player with that album, Fragile, right? I mean, and the cover, the introduction of Roger Dean, just, that was huge for them. And just a masterful album with Heart of the Sunrise, Roundabout, Long Distance Runaround, everything on there, The Fish, just a great album. Great album.
And it's great that they're doing it out, they're going out live and doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be seeing them do it next month. So I'm gonna see a Yes show and then a Steve Hackett show. So it's like 2 nights back to back. So that'll be fun.
Well, I'm going to be doing that next year, not back to back, but I'm going to be going to the Yes show in April when they come around to the UK, and then I'll be seeing Steve Hackett later in the year in October.
Oh, great! I might be seeing Mr. Hackett on the 11th. Yes is playing the same day. I had tickets to see Steve Hackett a year ago, April. Was it a year ago, April, Steve, or this last year?
Yeah, it was April 2024. Yeah.
Right. And 15 minutes before the show was supposed to start, they announced he wasn't going to go on. He got taken to hospital because he had a stomach virus kick up or something. So missed it. And that's why I'm going to reach out to Nick. I really want to see the show. And I only just figured out finally yesterday that my tickets that I got weren't good for this show. So now I'm kind of scrambling to figure it out. I've seen videos from the show. I love his last album. He's one of my favorite guitar players from one of my favorite bands. So I would just love to see that show. And it's a smallish theater as well, which is kind of in the round because it's not always used that way as a revolving stage. In this case, it won't be, but it's still a round stage. It's really interesting. It's with the backing to it. It's where Steve and I saw John Anderson and the Band Geeks. It's that same theater, Steve, the Celebrity Theater. So I'm hoping to do that on the 11th. 11/11. It's a Magic Angel number. I hope it works out.
Yeah, I mean, John Anderson. I was just picking up on John Anderson and the Band Geeks. I wish they would go to the UK, because that would be. I'm sure that would be a great show.
Oh, it is. Yeah. What do you think of the album True? Let's talk about that, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sort of, it's John Anderson in his sort of what's the word? It's back to form, I think, and he still sounds great for for how old is he now? Is he 81?
Yeah, he's 81 today.
He was 79 when he did that, and we saw it. Just incredible.
Yeah,
just incredible. His voice is amazing, and there's no screwing around with it either. That's his voice.
Exactly. Yeah, and the keyboard tones are very, very Wakeman-esque.
Yeah. On
that album, I find.
Yeah.
There's just such a lot of power and energy about the album, and in fact I've not listened to it in quite a few months. Actually, I should actually dig that out again.
I need to find like a support group. I have a 6 CD player in my truck, and that's the thing I just can't seem to not listen to. It's like I'm totally addicted to that album, and my favorite songs are the second song, which is I'm having a brain fart. I've heard it so many times. What is
Shine?
it, Steve? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love Shine. I love Counties and Countries and Once Upon a Dream. Just they're masterpieces and completely different. But if I didn't know what was going on in the world and someone came up to me and said, you got to hear this, it's the new Yes album, I wouldn't question it whatsoever. Just the emulation of both Howe and Rabin on the same album, even within the same song. Like you said, a lot of the keyboard sounds are very Wakeman-esque. The bass is tremendously, sounds like Chris. It's just so good. It really is. If there wasn't someone already called Yes, they could call that band Yes. It'd be fine with me. I'd be fine with it. No offense to Yes. No offense to the guys.
And equally, I'm a huge fan of the latest, albums that Yes have released. The Quest, Mirror to the Sky, and it's interesting to see that they've introduced Circles of Time into the set list for the upcoming or for the current tour, which is going to be nice to hear.
Yeah, that is cool. Do you think that Yes will go do you think they'll ever go backwards I don't mean in progress, but to do like side-long type epics again and stuff like that?
I mean, we can, we obviously don't know, do we? But I think there's certainly the musicianship and the creative know-how, as it were, in the band to be able to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Yeah. And I know that sort of John Davison has sort of hinted at that a bit over the years, hasn't he? Really, that I think that's what the fans really like to or want to hear.
Yeah, I would love it, and I agree. I think the musicianship, the creativity is there. Just do what you're doing, guys, but stretch it out a little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but it's Yeah, I mean, I particularly love the title track "Mirror to the Sky" on the last
Yeah.
album, and it's just a shame that with the orchestrations and things that they can't really do a lot of that stuff live. But you know,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more of that in a live context.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm someone who, you know, even though I really love the classic stuff, I'm personally always about if you have something new, you gotta showcase more of it, you know, because
Yeah.
it's, you know, you put out new music and you gotta share it some more, you know, with the audience in case the audience themselves don't have the new music. Because you gotta remember, some of the people who go to the shows aren't the super fans who are in the know. Some of them are casual fans who are like, "Oh yes, oh I like that song Roundabout. Maybe I'll check them out." You know, there are those
Right.
Yeah.
fans.
I've really enjoyed them doing the full sides of albums, and you know, I'm one of these people that would happily go to a Yes show and then play The Ladder for the first half, and then
Oh,
the Fly
Oh,
from
that'd be awesome.
I love
Yeah.
that album too. Let's go there. What are some of your favorite albums that don't have Rick playing on them?
Well, for me, it's probably an obvious a couple of choices really, but Relayer definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
Patrick Moraz is all over that album. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Moraz as it happens as well. You know,
Yeah.
not is working, yes, but with the Moody Blues as well. And you know, Gates of Delirium is just, you know, it's sort of prog overblown to the extreme, isn't it?
Yeah.
But soon is, you know, I just get so emotional when I hear Soon.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, especially after the sort of the battle section. I think it's just a really, really nice sort of calming end to it. And that slide, that Fender Steel sound from Steve Howe is just
Yeah, oh, I just
magical.
love that slide solo in that. It's just so emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. And my other one that I have to choose is Drama.
Yeah. That's
Because
interesting. That's great. I love Drama. I saw the tour. It was amazing.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
actually, Drama. Some of the tracks on Drama were some of the first Yes pieces that I heard. You know, I mentioned that Heart of the Sunrise and You and I earlier, but I was exposed to the Drama album quite early on, and that the bass part on "Does It Really Happen?"
Yeah.
I would try for years to figure out what time signature that was in, and try and play along with it.
What do you think it is? Or do you know what it is now?
I couldn't tell you, but I do try and jam along to it sometimes.
Yeah,
When
me too. I love
uh,
playing that song.
but
Yeah.
no, that's and Tempest Fugit. I mean, just what a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
And
great live too. Yeah.
yeah, and we have a couple of photos here, so let me go ahead and show
Yeah.
those.
Brilliant.
I
So
think we have a video too.
yeah, we
Okay.
have so there's this one with you and Rick, and we also have this other one. Let me just pull it up. Of you with the crew. So this would have been with Rick's crew for one of his tours, right?
Yeah, that was. So I'll tell you a brief story about that. So in 2022, so relatively recently, I was asked if I was able to help out for the merchandise on the merchandise store for Rick's short tour that he did just after the COVID pandemic, and it was the rock ensemble, and they did a section of Rick's, you know, classic material on that tour. And I was very honoured to be able to do some helping out with the merchandise on that show, on that tour.
Were you able to swipe some stuff?
So
Did you pinch some stuff?
I think I've got most of the albums already. So yeah, I will admit that I've pretty much got every single Rick Wakeman album possible.
That's a great photo.
Yeah, that was on the last night of the tour. That was at Newcastle City Hall, if I remember rightly. And you know, it was really interesting throughout most of the tour, you know, because everyone has their own job to do, and it's like a big machine where everyone has to do their own jobs.
Right.
Didn't get the chance to hang out that much on the tour, but after the last show at Newcastle, there was a little bit of a party backstage, and that was where it was.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
Right.
it was great to do, and it was really nice to meet a lot of the Rick Wakeman fans there. You know, some of them are as crazy as we are. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of scary to think about, actually, that they're crazy as we are. But so you've also seen Rick's recent performance. Well, was it one show or two shows?
I went to one show, so that was last week at the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall. So a week last Wednesday.
Okay, so what was I think they advertised what the set list was like, but what can you tell us about the show?
Well, yeah, for those people who haven't been, it's the first half is the Six Wives of Henry VIII album in its entirety, and then after the intermission, he came on and did the King Arthur album in its entirety as well.
Wow.
It was interesting. So the Six Wives of Henry VIII album wasn't played in sequence of the album, but they played it in order of who Henry married. So it was Catherine of Aragon first, and then the set list for
that's a neat spin.
As follows: Catherine of Aragon. I've got it written down here, so I did my homework. Catherine of Aragon, and then Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Catherine Parr.
Yeah, I think that's also the order that, like, I think he started doing that order back in 2009 or whenever that Hampton Court concert was.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yeah. Which,
so
by the way, I love that show. It's just amazing.
It's great video. So it's neat that has stuck. Kind of similar to how at certain points, Yes seemed to prefer playing close to the edge in reverse as opposed to the album order.
Yeah, I think sequentially this running order worked, and it made sense really, because Catherine Parr was a very good set closer, and sorry, I'm just having a bit of technical issues. There we go. Sorry, just a message popped up on my screen.
All good.
But yeah, Catherine Parr, really showed off Rick's sort of improvisation skills, and it was a nice rocky end to the first set. But essentially, most of the arrangements that they did was the Hampton Court arrangements, but without the orchestration. So Adam Wakeman filled out the sound on second keyboards, and the band was absolutely on fire. It was brilliant.
That's awesome. Who was on drums?
Adam Faulkner. He I don't know if you've heard of an artist called Amy MacDonald, a pop artist, very big in the UK. And he also drums for her. He was also involved with Adam Wakeman's band Headspace.
Oh, okay.
And so he's been drumming with Rick now for about 3 years, and he's absolutely just such a solid player.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. We have a clip of you, an excerpt of you playing with Gordon Giltrap. I'm going to show that, and then let's talk about that experience.
Well, do you want to show the other one first, Dad? Since
okay, I'll show the other one first.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Here we go.
So was that Adam Wakeman in the audience there?
It was, yeah. He went out and did his thing, and then Rick. I didn't have a clip, unfortunately, of when Rick came out with his guitar and they did the duel in guitars.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but Yeah, and the whole band were just having fun. That clip actually was from Merlin the Magician, and they did that one as the encore. And
Oh,
yeah, the sort of energy and the humor of the band really shone through. Um, and it just going back to the Six Wives of Henry VIII set, when Rick was introducing the album at the start on the microphone, he was sort of jokingly testing the band to see if they remembered the running order, which wives came next. And he came round to Adam at one point, and Adam just shouted, when Rick said, "What's the next wife after that?" And he went, "My mum."
I knew you were going to say that. That's hilarious. That's
The
funny.
place absolutely erupted.
It's kind of interesting he didn't record the album like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know the reasoning for that, but yeah, they chose this running order on the tour.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, now we'll go to the Gordon Giltrap excerpt. That was great. I had it turned up real loud, and two of the dogs walked out. The
I
other
don't know if
two
that's
were
good
still
or a
here.
bad thing.
It's just so good. That was great. Talk about working with Gordon.
Yeah, well, and I know you've had Gordon as a guest on this show, so you'll be aware of the magnificence of his guitar playing. He's just
Yeah.
such a legend in his own in his field, and such a humble guy as well. But
Yeah.
my history with Gordon really goes back to the very early days again. So I mentioned that I went to see Rick Wakeman a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
But around about the same time, I was about 6 or 7. I used to go along to Gordon Giltrap's gigs.
Really?
Yeah, he used to come and play at a small theatre in my hometown where I grew up, and I was amazed by his playing. And over the years, I went to several gigs, and again, I got to know him really, really well. And I bought all the records, and then it was about 2007. Well, so it must have been around about the time when Oliver Wakeman was working with him on the Ravens and Lullabies project.
Oh, okay.
I started learning a piece of music from an album that he'd recorded a couple of years prior to that called From Brush and Stone, which he recorded with Rick Wakeman. And there was a track on there called Maddie Goes West that I really, really, really enjoyed. And I was trying to, master the Rick Wakeman parts on it. And anyway, I learned it. And I actually emailed a version of or a recording of my version to Gordon. And he contacted me back saying that he really, really liked it. And then it was a few years later after that where I chatted with him about the possibility of him coming to do a concert at my local church. So I'm a church organist and very involved with local churches. And yeah, so about 2017, he said he would come along and do a night, but would I be willing to play keyboards with him for that show? And I was like, I thought about it for
Wow.
about 10 seconds, and I said yes.
I'm going to remove myself for just a moment. You guys
Problem.
carry on. There's something going on. I got to check on. My wife's not here. I want to make sure everything's okay. I'll be back.
Perfect. Okay.
Right. So how long ago would this gig have been from the clip we saw?
Yeah. So 2000. This was Christmas 2000 and Christmas 2016 actually. So going into 2017. So yeah, that was the first full gig we did together. And but prior to that, I did a solo gig in Solihull, which is near where Gordon was living at the time, and we did a couple of songs as a warm up for that as well, including Heart Song, which he just played there, which was his biggest hit in 1976, I believe. So yeah, that was how I started coming about to playing with him for a good number of years after that.
Yeah, and it was very great getting him on the show not too long ago. He's such a great guy, nice guy, but also, of course, a skilled player. So, any opportunity to play with him, it's like, of course, you gotta say yes, So that's really cool.
Yeah, and it was really interesting doing that because I've been such a huge fan of Gordon's over many years. So I was already immersed in that music, and so which made the learning process a lot simpler. But the difficulty was actually in some cases trying to emulate Rick Wakeman, because there's a lot of responsibility with that comes with that. But Gordon was really great because he said to me, just do your own thing, don't try and copy, do your own thing. So what I tried to do, particularly on songs like Heart Song, I would play the solos that were kind of iconic, but a lot of the stuff he just gave me free rein, which was incredibly generous of him. It was easier to sort of have a template to work with on some of his older songs because that they had the Gordon Giltrap band, and as I say, there was tracks that Rick played on, so I had something to work from. But there was also a lot of material on his later stuff, particularly in the 90s, where it's just him and a guitar, so there's a blank canvas really. And
Yeah, what was that like? How much time did you spend? Like, did you play different things that went through your head to see what fit? Did he choose from that, or how was that process for you, Adam?
There was a lot of experimentation that went on, and we didn't actually have that much rehearsal time. We had literally one or two rehearsals before the first gig, which is really good. But yeah, it was a lot of sort of experimentation. I would get the original records, play along to them, and particularly with Gordon's music, it was very much a lesson in sometimes less is more, and playing and being a support really, because Gordon does not need any other instrumentation. I mean, he's such an intricate guitar player. But I just found on some songs, there was times where I was more of a support, just even playing the basic chords underneath, to give that sort of orchestral texture.
Yeah.
Then there were some opportunities where I could, throw in a few Wakemanisms in there.
Nice. That's great. Sounds like it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, and he's a great friend, Gordon is, and he's such a generous person, and so generous with his time, and that led me to those early gigs led me to working with him, for the subsequent few years after that, COVID years being the exception. But even during COVID, we were still working on stuff together. I actually digitized a symphony that he'd been commissioned to write back in the 1980s.
Oh,
so I managed to, and it hadn't been performed for absolutely years. So I managed to get the original manuscripts. So Gordon gave me the original manuscripts, and I digitized everything and added a few little bits in there here and then there to update it, and it's available or you can request the copies of it by emailing.
That's great.
Yeah,
It's like you brought something back to life,
Yeah, absolutely.
in a whole new product, that's exciting stuff. You mentioned Steve and I both knew this, and we were talking about this a bit before we went live, but you have a residency where you play. Let's talk a little bit about that, and maybe you could shed some light on why that is such a fun gig and give some musicians some inspiration to seek out gigs like that, because not everyone's aware. Sometimes people are so busy chasing the big record deal and the big support group tour and all that they miss out on a lot of other opportunities, and you've done a lot of these different things, so talk about that experience.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I'm the keyboard player for the Warner's franchise, and they own a chain of 16 hotels or slash sites across the UK, and each one of them has a resident band. And I'm at the Bottleworth and Castle site at the moment in North Wales, and I've been there now coming up to 2 years. And it was a simple case really of a couple of years ago I was asked to understudy for the previous keyboard player. And so I did a full week of shows where it was just like thrown in at the deep end. Here's the music, sight read it.
I love that.
So it was a bit of a baptism of fire, really, that week. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I got on really, really well with we've got an incredible band. And in fact, me and the drummer, I remember us having our first conversations about what we liked musically, and I was like, well, who's your inspiration? Your biggest inspiration? And he was like, well, one of them's Bill Bruford. And I was like, I think we're going to get on really well here.
Nice.
So anyway, I did that week. So that was that I guess would be March 2023, and then just went off on my merry way doing different freelancing things with tribute bands and stuff. And then in the October of that year, I got a call saying, would you be interested in having the job? And it was as simple as that, really. So I got the call in October 2023 and started in January 2024. And it's a real it's a really very, very job. I'm still trying to convince them to play some prog in the set list, but we play everything really, from sort of ABBA to the Carpenters. Well, I've got there's a list of about 200 songs. I don't think we've got time to list them all, really. But
wow, what's some of the what are some songs that are just totally apart from each other, the antithesis of each other?
The antithesis of each other. I mean, we play. Well, I mean, Superstition by Stevie Wonder. I mean, that is a particularly. Oh, sorry, you'd frozen there for a moment.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. Okay. Superstition by Stevie Wonder. That's any Stevie Wonder is absolutely fun to play. The clav sound on that, and I try to get it like the original record, as close as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go to Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah.
So and you can be doing it in the same in the same night, so it is really, really varied. And I think that's really where I'm so grateful weirdly to Rick for the inspiration, because that classical grounding has given me the sort of flexibility to dabble in all of these genres, really.
That's great. Yeah.
So listening to Rick weirdly has given me the sort of foundation to be able to do this role.
And would you agree that it goes full circle, no pun intended, but it goes full circle that doing that also makes you a better player for the other stuff that is more in your what you're more fond of, the prog rock. Like you build chops no matter what you do if you do enough of it and concentrate on getting good at it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Warner's job in particular, it's relentless because it's 6 nights a week, and it does really sharpen your playing. And
How long are the sets, Adam?
we do so on a typical night we'll do 2 45-minute band sets, and then sometimes as well we get a lot of visiting acts that come in, so singers, and you know, so we have to in many cases sight read the music on the night. We'll get a quick sound check and we'll back them as well. But yeah, and it's really fun. We had a really interesting guitar player called Phil Walker a few weeks ago, and we did Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, you know.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
no one's brought Sound Chaser.
no. We've got to I think prog rock at the Warner Hotels is on the late evening disco after our last band set, and the people have requested you know, Follow Me by Genesis, or
What's
Owner
the
of a Lone
wackiest request you've ever gotten?
The wackiest request.
The wackiest, like the craziest.
Someone did request Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Fanfare for the Common Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you guys
that's a
do
good
it? That's an easy one to kind of just pound out.
Yeah, that was on the disco actually after the band set, so we didn't actually play that, but I would have happily gone and jammed that out.
Yeah, stretch that one out. That's great. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and we also have this photo. Tell us the story behind this sparkly outfit that you're wearing here.
Well, that's very interesting. So again, this sort of stage attire is very Wakeman influenced, as you can probably tell.
I have the thong that goes with that outfit.
Yeah. But that outfit, that particular jacket was given to me as a present, and it was created by a guy called Neil Crosland, who owns a company called Stagewear Unlimited.
Oh.
It was, and he actually, over the years, has made some of the iconic capes for Rick.
Wow.
So
zoom in, Steve.
Yeah, let me try
Let's
that.
see the details. Gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So it's he tried to make it as Wakeman-esque as possible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
it was
go
brilliant.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, so going back to Rick, you know, he's keeps being busy with his solo output, and you know, we just talked about his latest album, Melancholia. What do you think of his recent output?
I mean, you know, I'm a massive fan of Rick Wakeman's you know, albums throughout the decades, but I think this one really, Melancholia, really highlights how melodically strong his pieces are, you know, without the sort of bells and whistles and, you know, the input of, you know, the esteemed musicians that he's worked with, like John Anderson. And I think it just shows really how melodically driven Rick's pieces are, you know, plus also his virtuosity. And I think it's you know, how that those sort of ingredients, you know, made Yes in a way what it was. So I think it's a really I find it as one of those albums that, you know, you can put on in the background while she's sort of doing the housework, and it's just a nice calming album, really.
Absolutely. My dogs, I laughed because my dogs ran out when they heard the dog coming through, and I don't know if it was yours or
Oh,
Steve.
yeah, there's the neighbor's dog next door.
Yeah, all four of them just ran out. There's four big dogs. One's kind of smaller because he's younger, but they all four got up and went boing, and they're barking now. They don't even know at what. They're barking at Steve's neighbor's dog from, 248 miles away or something like that. Yeah, that album is exactly the way you described it. And I've had it on over here on my laptop while I'm working. And it's an album of compositions, you know.
Yeah. And it really harkens back, I think, to I was trying to think of the previous albums, that it sort of compares to. I don't know if you're aware of some of the material that he did in the late 80s, early 90s, and he did a suite of albums. It was Country Airs, Sea Airs, and Night Airs.
Oh, that doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, I know of them. I've probably heard at least pieces of them. I don't know if I've listened to them in full though, but it's something for me to look into.
Yeah, I think those there's loads of tracks on this album that are sort of have a sort of shared heritage, I think, with that sort of era. So it was interesting to sort of draw the comparisons between those two. Plus also his more recent albums, Piano Portraits and Piano Odyssey as well. But I think it was nice to, whereas those two albums were sort of his interpretations of existing songs, for the most part, it's nice to have another album, completely of originals again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. So what's next for you on your plate?
So yeah, well, as I say, 6 nights a week at Warner's is keeping me very busy. Keeps me out of trouble. But next year, definitely a load more solo gigs in the pipeline, which I can't really say much about at the minute. But they're all online on my website, adamparrishmusician.com.
Great.
And I will post a link in the comments to that. But hopefully, if all goes to plan, next year, maybe a piano album myself being released. So one can hope, these things don't always come to fruition, but that is the plan of action for next year.
Great. You'll have to keep us posted. You're always welcome to come on and talk about that stuff when it's out or about to come out. If you want to promote it, we'd love to have you again.
Yeah. And then a full prog rock album the year after that with orchestra and choir.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, really going full on with the Rick Wakeman influence, right?
Yeah. And then I'll do the gig on ice.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And we will have to find time to somehow meet up and play together somewhere, sometime. That'd be awesome.
Sound Chaser, I'll hold you to that one.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Any plans to come to the US at all?
Well, do you know, I was in the process last year, before I got the Warner's job, of trying to work out a US tour.
Yeah.
The plans just didn't align at the time, but
okay.
I really do in the near future want to get out and do some solo gigs in the US.
Oh, that'd be great. Cool. Well, I'm in Arizona, which is Phoenix is here. There's over 4 million people there. It's not far from Southern California, where Steve is, where there's plenty of places to play. And of course, we've got a bunch of family in Las Vegas, where we moved here from. So there's kind of that quadrant in the Southwest where there's a lot of places to play. If you come anywhere near out this way, we'll make time to get together and rent a studio, bring in a few other musicians if they're not with you at the time, and we'll do maybe that and more.
Yeah, Close to the Edge in its entirety.
Yeah, that and the Relayer album.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm bringing tape.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Adam, for taking time to join us on your Saturday. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, you're always welcome to come on and talk about whatever it is you're working on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Great. Thanks. And thanks, everybody, for following what we do here on Yesshift. You can do the audio only if you're more of a podcast earpod listener at Yesshift. At anchor.fm/Yesshift, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Yesshift. And they can send us love letters, Steve, or something like that. What's the deal with that?
Sure. Like yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. But
there you go. Thanks, everybody.
Keep it tame, folks.
Yeah. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.